Hi everybody, my name is Kalin. I'm the project lead for Naya Create, and this is...
Hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm the UI UX designer.
In the last video, we discussed Naya Flow and, well, the whole software architecture behind Create in a bit more detail. And today we're going to try to answer some of the questions, suggestions, and otherwise remarks that were posted in the Discord channel and other social media channels. So, yeah, let's get to it. Alright, first question. I'm interested in how complex the boolean activation functions can be. It'd be interesting if you allow key presses to trigger custom event actions that use the boolean profile selection code /UI.
Yeah, absolutely something that we plan to do. Although I will add the small caveat that it will probably be a toggle rather than a single key press, because obviously there's constant checking to see which profile should be activated. So if it was like a one-time press, then it only works while you're holding it down, which could be a thing, but...
If I might add something more to this, it could be used as a Boolean activation condition. So a key press, for example, this is something that we are considering. Another one is to just activate a profile on key press. So say that you don't care for the system to activate a profile for you for Photoshop, or you have 3 Photoshop profiles, you can just select, you should be able to just use a key to switch between these profiles or to select a specific profile.
So, names from Marketplace, Naya Cloud, Naya Marketplace, Naya Hub, Naya Link, Naya Share, Naya Market. My first thought was that y'all's brand language is very floaty, so Cloud makes sense, but Cloud hints at more data access than plugin access. Naya Plug.
So it's a tiny bit sus, but there's a different suggestion that we actually quite liked, so we'll see what happens. Is the Naya Forge, indeed. It sounds cool, but we are engineers, so...
Yeah, marketing will likely have the final say on that.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Next question /prompt/suggestion. I would use Flow in Premiere Pro the most, and I have changed almost all keyboard commands to something different than their defaults. This is an interesting one. So if Flow templates are relying on default keyboard shortcuts, they would not work for me, and I'll have to build them from scratch. This would be fine, but I'm fairly sure that this is not not how Flow will be working. So I would love to hear more about how Flow will be interacting with the API, what is possible in these integrations. All right, so we make a distinction between direct integrations, so these are things that interact with the framework or API provided by the software, by the third-party software, or shortcut integration. So these are things that we want to support, and we either haven't gotten around to it yet, so to integrate with whatever is available there, framework or API-wise, or it just doesn't exist. So for these kinds of things, we will provide shortcuts, and if you have custom shortcuts and the specific software in question is not yet supported using API or framework, then indeed you would have to build the shortcuts yourself. What we will allow you to do is to, for the specific software, change the shortcut itself. So you can, in the software, change it and then apply it to the keyboard, or you can just create your own custom macros and custom shortcuts that you can then just drag and drop onto the key that you care for.
I'm really happy that there's a community layout marketplace planned. Makes finding and trying out new workflows a much simpler and quicker experience. Yes. Having said that, do you plan on enabling users to share just parts of layouts, e.g. only sharing a layer with a numpad layout or only sharing a profile specific to Photoshop? Yes. The idea is that basically anything that you can create custom in the software, you can then share with other people and you can load from template.
If I might add a slight asterisk, the idea is indeed to have everything. We will slowly roll out these things. So with launch, not everything will be possible likely, but you'll be able to share layers, you'll be able to share profiles, you'll be able to share macros. So these bigger chunks, and then over time we want to introduce more granularity for whatever is necessary or whatever the community wants.
Yeah.
I have wanted the ability to cut and paste or drag and drop sections of keys for layers, or mirror them from side to side, take groups of keys and move them from one place to another or from one side to another and manipulate them. That would be really powerful for making layers faster. Agreed. Would you like to take this one?
Yes, so this is something that is indeed really cool and we would absolutely love to implement, but we cannot promise on launch because it is a bit more complex to implement. Highly likely you will have the ability to move groups of keys between layers, but we can't say that you'll be able to move them around layers. You will be able to move singular keys around. We already have that.
Yeah, that is true. So just to add to the complexity, it's not necessarily the complexity in building this in, it's the complexity in figuring out how the system should work.
Yeah, making things work intuitively,
yeah.
Given that the shape of the keyboard is a bit...
non-standard.
Yeah. My biggest question was this. Does track do anything that float plus tune can't? I basically dabble in everything but 3D modeling, but it provides more possibilities for precise input, say... if it provides more possibilities for precise input, say navigating through countless tracks in a video timeline, or drawing a precise adjustment mask in a photo, then perhaps it's worth investing in.
I love the language used. That is very well worded. So, yes, does track offer anything that flow plus tune can't? Yes, I would say so. It really depends on your workflow, where you could in theory use tune as a mouse, but it is significantly smaller. So track is nice if you say, for example, myself personally, I have a fairly large screen that if I were to do anything with music, in Ableton, it's nice to have a large screen where you can just give a flick to a trackball, it starts spinning and you stop it where you need it to be. Where with tune, for example, you might need 2 or 3 swipes to get to the right location. Of course, you can play here with speed, so it really depends on your use case and on your own personal config on which one will make more sense, though we do generally recommend track and touch as mousing inputs, as they do give a larger range than tune would, for example. Alright. Do the keyboard and modules have pass-through charging when a wired connection is used in order to extend battery longevity? Right. Do they have pass-through charging? Yes, they do pass-through charging. You can charge using a USB-C cable. And then the second part of the question is, in order to extend the battery longevity, this is a more complex topic because there are many things at play, but the BMS, the battery management system on Create, will indeed take this into account, where there are many different factors to take into account to extend the battery of both the internal battery and the individual module batteries. Can the float be used as a kind of giant trackball / joystick in other software? And is such a limited use case kind of a waste, or does the float still have its own merits in non-3D regards?
So, to answer this question, one of the biggest design philosophies of Naya Create is essentially we want to have as many inputs as possible, give them to the user, and let the user do with those inputs what they want. Of course, given that float is sort of designed to be a 3D navigator, 3D manipulator, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
But we're going to make sure that use case is 100% polished by release. And any other use case of changing the input to any other output is either not 100% polished on released or will be added in later. Can the thumb buttons under the module be mapped to mouse clicks? Yes.
Very short and sweet. Yes, you can map any key on the keyboard to a mouse click. Any feature, I'm going to say any just to not overpromise. Most of the features on the modules should be possible to be remapped to individual keys, though of course it's not going to be as intuitive as, rotating a dial. You have to press the button a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Will Naya Flow have a history version or version history feature to get back to previous versions of your layer / profiles? Yes and no. Yeah, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Go for it.
No, you go for it.
Okay. So this is not. Yes, we want to offer this feature later on. What this looks like exactly, we don't know yet. For the time being, what you can do is a manual backup, essentially. What you can do in the software is just press an export button and it creates a JSON file with all of your layers and profiles currently loaded on the keyboard and in the software. So you could manually keep track of this. It is a fairly simple implementation development side, but it's not necessarily high priority, so we cannot promise yet that it will be there on release, or if it is there, it may not be in a particularly polished state.
Yeah, it could just be that it just dumps it to a
folder.
Yeah, dumps it to a folder, and you can go and back up from that folder.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you very much for all the questions, suggestions, and otherwise curiosities. We hope we managed to answer them to a either satisfactory or at least more insightful degree.
Yeah, we definitely hope.
Hope dies last. If there are any other questions, you can, we'll see them come up on Discord, Instagram. What else do we have?
Links to social media will be in the description, so check it out if you're interested.
And then until next time, I suppose. Bye.
Camera is recording. Somebody clap in front. Nice. Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is Kalin. This is Benjamin.
Really?
Hey, my name is Kalin. I don't know who this is.
Enthusiasm. Hello.
Hey. My name is Kalin.
I'm Benjamin. I'm the UI UX designer, and we're here to go for it.
No, that was fine. If you would.
You go for it. You do it. You do it. Yeah.
No, you do it.
You do it. I'm Benjamin. I'm the UI UX designer.